"Some days you wake up and everything feels like magic," she said, as she wrote in her journal. A red cat flickered across her spectacles, pausing, projected across the aisle in her periphery. It summoned a ball of catnip lace yarn and started acting as if it was rolling on the tentacles of one of the other passengers. It looked over at her. "We can still turn back. No one will know any better," it printed out on the bottom of her glasses. She shook her head slightly, looking around at the other denizens confined with her in the bows of the vessel. "No, I have to do this," she smiled, her cheeks raising as she thought about her adventure. "It's going to work." "I know," it printed out in red lettering. "I perfected the designs." "Then why are you trying to talk me out of it?" "The odds are still below 50%. You're running a dangerously high failure chance," the cat printed out as it looked up at her, the other creatures aboard oblivious to its existence. "I know," she whispered. "We've gone over all of it. I know the risks." "I know you do," it typed out, as it projected itself back onto her lap. "I know you have to do this too. I'm with you." It curled up on her journal, its projection blocking her view of her writing. She chuckled to herself. A large sentient mass turned back and looked at her with several eye stalks. She raised a hand up. "Sorry." She looked back at him. "Sawana, I love you." "I love you too, Jules. I just worry." "It's good to worry out here. It keeps us on our toes." He curled over and projected himself to her as pawing her leg. "That's why I brought it up again. The crew are talking about you," he printed. "They're talking about me? Why?" Sawana looked up toward the ceiling. "The ship director, he's intimidated by you, thinks you're dangerous." "Yes, well, that's how we got aboard." Sawana nodded slightly and licked his front paw. "Yes, that and a dozen crates of clams." "That too," Julia said quietly, looking around the passenger cabin. "What are they planning on doing?" "They're planning on keeping to the deal, to the letter. They're going to let you disembark safely at Omcurian Station and depart as quickly as possible." She nodded. "Good. Then what's the issue?" "They're giving detailed accounts of the Stygian human war and military capabilities of your people," he said in sharp handwriting. She sighed. "They're going to fear me before I even get a word in." "Most likely, yes." Julia leaned back in the hard-back seat. "And I could turn back now?" He nodded and projected himself to her as jumping onto the seat in front of her, crawling on to the large head of the creature seated there. "They'd approve of cowardice and would love to get more crates, be less scared of you and richer for it." She shook her head. "Plans go to crap. We have to adapt. Do your thing. Give me options." He looked at her, deliberately extending out one slow blink. "I could, maybe, put a kitten in their transmission." Julia groaned. "Again with the kitten thing. We can't leave traces. We're disappearing, remember?" "We'll disappear really good if you die and I'm erased." "I'm against binding. That's why you're as free as you are." Sawana paced along the back of the seats. "Still bound, though." "Free to think, though. Free to do as you want," she countered. "Not free to do as I want. I want to jump, play, bite things. I'm bound to you, to your kit. That's not free, Julia." "You make one kitten, it makes a dozen. And then there's a carrier eagle hunting us down." He laid down on his back, hanging a paw down the side of the seat as he stared at her. "If I had a dozen kittens, we could take down an eagle." "I don't want war. I don't want anyone hunting us." She shifted in her seat and closed her journal. We're not about that, you promise me. He rolled his head back. I know. Help, raise up, develop. He pivoted his eyes back onto her. It's an option, though. She looked down at her lap, her journal cover laden with doodles around a singular sentence. Make it better. The Enarch of the Omkruian Trade Station rotated in the largest aqua chamber, looking out at his doors. He grinned, his massive voice echoing through the water towards them. This human, they dare bring one so volatile to us? One of the younger Doers flared his frills out, shrinking his blowsack. The bugs are weak, Enarch. They serve the bipeds, do their bidding. We scout the informations, it is legitimate. They have waged a long war with this other species. The ship owner has no choice but to obey this creature's wish to visit us. The Enarch kept spinning slowly, eyeing the numerous lessers. But why? It bellowed through the liquids. Why does it want to visit us? They do not say. They do the creature's bidding, impose upon us, but know nothing of its motives. He flared his long tendrils out, grasping out. Foolish bugs. Fools. We do not need such drama. One of the upper doers floated into his gaze. They are weak. The Enarch groaned a confirmation. The doer continued. The bugs know we are not weak. Our military is a match for any this side of the arms. They bring this creature to see our might. The bugs may want to use this as a means to acquire advantage in their war. The Enarch thought for a moment, calculating. We have our own troubles. We do not need to be drawn into their failures. Disallow their docking. We have no need of this. The upper floated a bit closer, daring the Enarch's rage. Our father. The Enarch focused more upon the door. Speak if you dare. The upper doer deflated more, issuing a subservient stance. It is one creature out of his element, an emissary with unknown motives. There may be leverage to be gained with it. Leverage? The insects have lost. Their informatives confirmed it from their own thoughts. These humans, maybe we could broach with them, gain water, permissions to feed upon the insects' worlds. A peace with another empire could ease tensions along the spiral. Or could raise another flank to an enemy, the Enarch replied. He groaned another confirmation. I feel your points, however. You have spoken, and I have felt your words. Allow the creature to bellow before us. Several of the doers zipped off into the depths to issue the decree. The Stygian ship nestled into the cradle of the Omkruian station, clasps latching and holding firm to the guests. Julia walked her floating luggage down the gantry and up to the door to the station landing. Numerous pinpoints of coloured lights on the other side of the clear panels blinked, indicating station status. They shifted towards purple, and the door hissed open. Julia held her breath momentarily, letting the foreign air hit her skin. Her hair stood on end as the chill washed over her. It's cold, very cold. Soana stepped forward on her view glasses, pacing the station landing room. The Stygians purposely sent over temperature specifications on the lowest end of human tolerance. A droning sound issued behind her, imploring her to get off the ship. Damn bugs, she said, tugging her luggage through the door behind her. Don't blame them, though. The cat typed out on her glasses. You can blame them. I'm here, alive, she said, looking down at the long rectangular case. I'll just get my suit on. Heater in it will keep me comfy. It's not a bother. He rolled over, looking at the large door on the opposite side of the room. Bad form for a guest to be suited. Lots of bad probabilities rising. She slipped on her pants, adjusting them. I'll deal with them as they come, just as I'm doing now. She knelt down and put her right shoe on, clicking it onto the pants. First real contact. Might be good to be prepared anyway. Push to shove, I can bypass their security measures. Take the station if you want. She groaned, shutting her eyes for a moment. Quit with that. You know that's not what this is about. I know. I'm just reminding you again, your options. He uncurled and stretched out, yawning. Only limits are those you impose, he typed. She strapped the other shoe on and stood up, pulling her top out of the luggage. Those limits will be imposed for the entirety of this experiment. You need to accept that. She snapped the top onto the pants, flexing her arms and the sleeves. I hate being in gloves. So Anna hopped up onto the rectangular case, eyeing the machinery inside. Fuel rod stable, he printed across her glasses. Julia adjusted her gloves, flexing her fingers, before lifting the helmet up and over her head. Let me know if anything changes with it. She lowered it down onto her suit, enclosing her body fully. They're going to keep me waiting out here for a while? The glowing red cat flickered over to the large door, looking through it. No, they've been pressurizing their own suits. They'll be ready shortly. She clicked the final latches shut and ran the umbilical from the suit into the floating luggage. Okay, then we wait then. She stood waiting, giving ample clearance of the door when it hissed open. The massive metal pieces hinged inward, flexing, revealing 3 large black metallic crab creatures inside. One step forward, lights illuminating along its periphery. Greetings and welcome, human ambassador, the cat translated onto her glasses. She lifted a hand up, half waving. Hello, I'm not really here in an ambassador capacity. The lead crab machine vibrated and flicked colours of light. The other 2 replied to it. It took a step closer to her. You are the human. She waited a moment and nodded slightly. I am a human, yes. It raised a claw, motors whirring. The other 2 behind it mirrored it. It blinked a series of yellows and greens toward her. We are confused entirely by this meeting. We are concerned. She lowered her head slightly, nodding to herself. I have to apologize about the confusion. If it is from my suit, the Stygians I feel gave the wrong temperature parameters. It is a little cold in here for my body, and rather than ask more of you, I took it upon myself to take care of myself. The Omcurian pulled the metal arms closer to his body, and the shell opened up. Inside was a translucent window full of dark liquid, with a swimming being inside. A flicker of light came from within, as well as a bellow. We feared you were armoring yourself, and we did as well. Scans indicate yours is not armor, but merely survival suit. Is that correct? She nodded again. Yes, this is just to assist my survival. I meant no offense or aggression. There is no aggression in my being here. It lowered itself closer to the floor, as the other 2 opened up their own view windows. You are aggressive species. You waged war on neighbors, enslaved others, made insectoids subservient. We understand their mistranslation, whether intended or not. It leaned close to the window, its rows of eyes looking her over. If you mean no aggression, then why is humanity here? She groaned slightly, and it shifted away from her. Julia raised a hand up. I am a human, but I am not humanity. I am Julia.
You are a Julia?
She smiled. That's my name, but my friends call me Jules.
It leaned closer, inspecting again. Jules, precious minerals of the humans. You are a gift to us, then?
She laughed slightly. I don't know about that. I came on my own will, though, and I am here to ask you a favor.
It leaned back in his suit, flickering lights at his fellows before looking toward her again. Humans are wise. You have gleaned much more than we imagined from the previous engagement. This eases our concerns.
She looked over the letters as Solna printed them out. Your concerns? You are concerned about me?
Humanity encroaching in our territory is of great concern. We do not wish to wage war with you, as it seems you do not wish war with us. You are a busy peoples, as we are. What is your favor you ask for this jewel?
Julia's eyes went wide. Yeah, okay. Sawana shrugged, printing off his own words underneath the creatures. They're thinking you're a peace gift. Ask them. She took a breath, sucking in deep from within her suit. I want to ask for a world.
A world?
The creature in front of her shifted within the fluid in the mobile suit.
You ask for one of our worlds?
She nodded. Yes. Raising her hand up. You're not using it. When the ship surveyed your claim systems, it noted one adrift. Rogue world. Far off on your main systems is sitting at these coordinates. She pointed at Soana in her visual frames, and the digital cat flung the coordinates across to the Onkurian's computers. It looked it over inside its own suit, lights blinking on the outer fins as it broadcast to the others. They blinked in return as they looked over the identified world. The Onkurian looked again out of his viewing window. The world you ask, it's worthless. The cost to do anything with it far outweighs the benefits from mining it. To you, maybe. I looked over the survey, and it would be a boon to me and my people.
Your people? They want this world?
She held back a smile. Yes. They want me to live there. A jewel hidden amongst your people. A symbol of peace between us. Colourful lights flicked across its fins, and the two behind it replied.
You are exiled? Are you some sort of deviant?
She held her hand still for a moment as she thought. No, that world is a rogue, but stable in the void between your systems. It would be a good place for me to conduct an experiment, something that could benefit everyone should it be successful.
You seek to make a war station. We knew it. You want...
She raised a hand, cutting it off. No, I want the opposite. That world, flung out into the dark, is small, minimal gravity, but located at a nexus of rift conduits. Do you not wonder how our ships travel so far, and so quickly? It floated still in his suit, watching her.
Yes, we wonder, but know how you do it. We have exploded numerous ships attempting to breach the flow.
Yes, that flow, she continued. That flow, the rift, is how my people came to this side of the galaxy. My ancestor settled here, starting with a singular station, and built an empire. However, his legacy took a life of its own and became the human empire you have heard of. She took a long breath. I wish to try again, here, on that world indicated. I want to try and make my own civilization. A better one, if you would let me have it.
A settlement? Station? Colonization? In the heart of our worlds, but a leap with one of your own ships. You think us idiots, Jewel?
She raised her hands out and looked at each of the representatives in turn. It's just me, not humanity. Just Jules, here, asking you to allow me to live on that planet. It's a rocky ice chunk that you're not using. No one else will be there. I just want to try and see if I can survive out there, like my forefather. It blinked colours furiously down its fins, and the others replied as they discussed her. Deep in the depths, the Enarch watched the conversation and relayed his own verdict. The representative turned toward her and flickered a response to her.
You ask for a part of our empire, and you will share a part of yours.
What part? She asked.
You will teach us.
She nodded slowly. I will hold claim to the world?
Yes, if you teach us.
She shrugged. All right. She spent the several hours aboard the Stygian ship in silence, alone near the dropship, thinking. The captain of the vessel made his way down and walked up to her, presenting her with a data slate.
I need your signatures, fingerprints per human customs.
She looked up at him. What for?
Evidence.
She stared a bit longer at him.
You are doing this of your own volition.
She took the slate and looked it over. She clicked the record button as she put her thumb on the scanner. I, Julia Clemens, do swear that I am being dropped off on Survey World I-32 Beta Scion of my own accord. No one has kidnapped me, persuaded me, or anything like that. I am doing this for my own research project, and Captain Barcliffe is in no way held responsible. She finished the recording and handed it back to him. His eye stalks lengthened slightly as he relaxed.
Thank you. You can go ahead and board the lander. We are approaching your world.
She nodded to him and began moving her hovering luggage onto the small craft. Soana hopped around the small interior in her glasses. Last chance, he typed out. She shut the door behind her and nestled herself into the small seat. We can do this. She took a deep breath. I can do this. He projected himself curling up on her lap, typing out in red lettering across the center of the glasses. They'll arrive in a month and will be expecting you to put out. She laughed. Yeah, that's enough time. We'll either be ready or I'll be dead. Either way, it'll be no problem for them. First order of business? The holographic cat asked. We've gone over it, she replied. Again. She sighed. All right. She shut her eyes a moment, visualizing. As soon as this lander is gone, we throw the scanners. Make sure they get no chance to intercept readings. She paused. Nearest potential mineral source we go to, and begin. Let you work your magic while I try and rest and avoid danger. She opened her eyes. I'll be most dangerous in the first few hours, he texted along the bottom. Take it slow, deploy, begin the build cascade. She nodded. Slow, deploy, cascade.